May 27th Halfmoon Township Board of Supervisor meeting to order. We don't do this typically too often, but we will do the call to order just to do attendance to make sure that we know all the supervisors are here.
Yeah, it's a hybrid meeting, so.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind just.
Sure, just to make sure and ensure that everybody can hear and be heard, I will call out your name. So Chair Corsa.
So, sorry, hold up. If you wouldn't mind, just let me mute I'm logged into YouTube to watch, and I have my computer off. There we go.
Sorry, my computer.
Yes, I'm here, and I can hear well.
Vice Chairman Strauss.
Here.
Dave Piper.
Here.
Patty Hartle.
Here.
Chuck Beck.
Here.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we don't normally do that, but I think
It's not a bad idea.
we do it semi-informally. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and stand, if you are able, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with some opening announcements from our manager, Denise.
Yes, same things as always. We're being live recorded on Cnet's YouTube channel, and if you signed up through our website through the Zoom meeting, you'll receive a link to the presentation or to the meeting afterwards. Mm-hmm. We're always still looking for volunteers to be on one of our boards or commissions. If they're interested, they can send an email or call the township. And just a reminder that we changed email service providers at some point this past year. So if you've signed up for emails in the past for notifications, we ask that you go on our website and sign up again so that we have your email and can provide you with any township notifications.
And one way that they could tell is if they received the agenda for tonight, they are on the email list. And if you did not, you are not on the email list. So
Yes.
if you want to receive the agendas, then please go to the website and give us your contact info.
And if you ever have a question, you can always email or call and we'll double check our list.
Excellent. Next up is citizens' comments. So any comments that are on any topics not already on the agenda this evening is speak now. Did you receive anything ahead of time?
Nothing ahead of time and nothing on YouTube channel.
Okay.
So we're good to go.
Okay, we'll move right along then to the approval of the agenda for this evening. Did we have any other changes, or are we good to go with the agenda? Anyone have anything else to add, delete? No? Okay,
I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
thank you. Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Thank you, Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. We do not have any subdivision plans or land development plans, so we go move on to the approval of the minutes from the April 22nd meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from April 22nd, 2021 meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? I will just admit that I don't read the minutes all the time from the previous meeting, but I actually did read these. And I just want to say, is it Amy that puts those together? Good job. Because, it's a thankless job to do
Yes,
minutes for a
it is.
meeting. So I just wanted to say I appreciate it.
Yeah, she does a good job. I will
Yeah.
make a confession. I did not read tonight's, or last month's, I guess we'll say. But often I do. So I will agree with you. Amy does a fantastic job of this. So.
All right. All those in favor of approving minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh,
Aye.
sorry, Chuck. I didn't wait for you. Sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Moving along, we have our consent agenda, which is the payments of the bills list for April 17th through May 5th, and also May 8th through May 21st. So the consent agenda works as if we are okay with as is, we can approve the whole consent agenda. If anyone has questions about any particular item, we need to pull it out and have a motion to approve that separately.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Hold on.
Oh.
Just a quick question. Since on our last meeting we were talking about streetlights, this line item jumps out at me a little bit. 2021 streetlight Oh, wait, no. Sorry.
I'll give you an update on that later.
Yeah, it's, no, I had, my lines mixed up. It looked like it said 23,400, yeah, that's the next line,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. Moving along to old business. I wanted to make a motion to table this property
Actually,
maintenance.
I even have it written on my agenda, propose that we table this
Oh,
until after,
look at
because, yeah,
that.
there's no need for us to continue if we're not moving on it until after, the updates in December, I think it is.
I believe that's when,
The-
they're planning on.
Yeah, exactly, and if we're not, looking to move on, there's no sense continuing to
Keep it on.
keep it on the
here.
agenda. I do want to revisit it, though.
Sure.
I mean, I know we have a lot of work to do toward it. I think it has a lot of value. There are some concerns, and I hear your concerns in our conversations, and I agree with some of them, but I think there are ways that we could work things out and choose the right things that will benefit the township and its residents. So,
Okay.
anyway.
So to table that, we do need a motion and then.
Oh, I move that we table the property maintenance code topic until, I'd say the first of the year.
Sure.
Because that, I think that's the earliest that they'll have that process done, so, you know.
Is there a second?
One second.
Thank you, Patty. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, excellent, okay. So new business we are starting, and we have Resolution 2021-14 authorizing loans with FNB? FNB?
FNB,
Okay,
At First National Bank, right?
oh, thank you.
yes. I'm going to pull that up,
Thank you.
when I figure out how to use this computer. No idea, I know I have it up.
Take your time. it's all-
Okay, well, without showing it specifically right there. There we go. Okay, so we took out a loan for the park with M&T Bank. And when I came on board, we started looking at how we were going to handle the payments for the remainder of that loan. And finances changed throughout the pandemic, of course. And when that loan was originally taken out, it was taken out at a higher rate fixed interest. With rates going down, we started looking at what it would take to either refinance the loan or find some sort of other solution with money being so cheap to borrow, so to speak. We looked at what we currently had in place, and the M&T said that it wasn't worth the refinance through them. The savings was going to be something like $3,000. So by the time we went through the process and used staff and went through, it wasn't worth that type of paperwork or administrative overhead. So when we established our relationship with FNB Bank and the fire protection account, they offered a lower fixed interest rate and said that they were able to give us a faster payment schedule with a lower rate, and then we would be able to pay off the loan faster for a total savings of what we estimated would be, and I have that in this packet, I believe it's about $20,000.
Gotta like that.
Lovely.
Yes, so we're estimating it would be right around 19,800.
800.
Give or take, there's going to be per diem interest that changes on some of those. So we looked at changing that up, and I talked to Jeff, we called the DCNR and DCED because we received some grants through them to make sure that we were following the process, that if we were to pay off the loan at M&T and then take out a loan at F&B, or take out the loan at F&B and pay off the M&T one, how that would work if they needed anything so that we were still compliant with all of our grants. We don't need anything from DCNR or DCED. Everybody's happy with that.
Perfect.
What we do need though is a resolution that says, that somebody from the board and the manager are able to apply for this loan at 2.61% for $316,000.
Awesome.
And then what we also need is, which is our next agenda item, the solicitor, authorizing the solicitor to create this tax exempt letter. In the previous loan, that was done by McQuaid Blasco, and that cost $7,500. Jeff is with us this evening and has looked at that previous letter, and he is comfortable issuing that letter for not $7,500.
Yay!
So those are the two items we would need to do in order to pay off the M&T loan and have a faster payout of our park.
Lovely.
What's it do to our monthly payment? Up, down, sideways?
It actually brings it down a little bit.
Okay,
So-
that's all I need to know.
Yeah, so if you look here, that this is our
Yep.
amortization chart. The 30, it's actually 3082.36 that we pay every month on our M&T. But with the calculations and the charts, there was some little
Yeah.
rounding. So our payment actually will go down to just below 3,000. So that's part of the savings in that as well as
Yeah.
the faster payoff.
Lovely.
So it's a win-win-win.
Yes,
What was the rate of the old loan, the interest rate?
3.88%.
It's just over 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well-
that's significant on 300 grand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Well, interest rates have fell through the floor over the last year or so.
It's good time to borrow.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So this chart also gives you a little bit, F&B will assume the loan on July 1st. We have a payoff letter from M&T as well in the per diem. It will still be a 10-year loan, and it will be 120 a month versus the 125 that we would continue working through M&T.
Lovely.
So what do we do now? Do we need to have the motion, or
Motion for
Jeff, do you
resolution.
need to elaborate on anything? Mr. Stover, excuse me.
No, I think you just need to pass the resolution.
Okay, thank you. So I move that we resolve the Halfmoon Township, Center County, Pennsylvania, apply for the loan on behalf of Halfmoon Township for 300.
What? I think all you
I'm
need to
reading
do is
words.
pass
Oh,
the
yeah,
resolution
I'm sorry.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move that we pass resolution 2021-14. Yeah, sorry, I started reading.
That's
I
okay.
got ahead of
Thank you.
myself.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Dave. Is there any discussion? All good. Thumbs up. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. The ayes have it. The next up then
Hey,
is.
let's just highlight, we just saved the taxpayers of Halfmoon Township almost $20,000. So,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Next up is the motion to authorize a solicitor. So if anyone wants to start that motion, that'd be great. To draft the tax-free status
I
opinion.
move that we authorize Mr. Stover, solicitor for the township, authorization to draft the tax-free status letter.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, excellent. Well, thank you for making our money work better for us. That's one of the strategic goals that we have this year, is to continue looking at our finances and see how we can get our money to work better for us to save
Absolutely.
everybody. So thank you. All right, next up is the Cnet 2021 annual presentation.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
What's that?
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. It's wonderful to be here. So I come annually to give the township a just an update on Cnet and what we've been doing. And my lovely assistant is going to share my presentation. And my glasses are going to fog up, but that's life. Next slide.
Does anybody know why that shows up now for everybody?
What should-
Ah,
The next
well,
slide.
that must be it. So, for us, of course, virtual meetings became the norm. There were hybrid configurations that developed over the course of the year. This little guy is one of them, this little owl here. Hybrid meetings, of course, provide sort of for obvious audio and video challenges. All of the rooms in which we work, of course, are slightly different. You know, no two rooms are the same. So everybody needs kind of a slightly different solution. So that was part of the real challenge for us last year. The university's response to the pandemic had a tremendous effect upon Cnet. You may remember that the university told students on March 11th, don't come back. So on March 11th, 2020, we essentially lost all of our spring interns. We went forward in the fall and spring having 2 interns for each semester rather than the 5 or 6, 5 to 7, which is really normal. But we did produce 451 programs last year with our teeny tiny staff. That is a decrease of about 6% from 2019. So I expected actually that the decrease was going to be larger, but it was not. And another highlight is that the UAJA, University Area Joint Authority, joined as our 16th member organization and our 3rd authority to join in 3 years. So that's really nice. The franchise agreement, big news, between Comcast and the Center Area Cable Consortium was finally signed by Comcast in January of 2020. Just to remind you, that consortium is made up of all of the municipalities of the center region, along with Benner Township and Bellefonte Borough. So those are the 8 municipalities of the CAC. The franchise includes a subscriber pass-through of 32 cents per subscriber per month. You'll see it on your cable bill as a PEG fee, 32 cents a month. And we began receiving those quarterly payments in May of 2020, and we do now receive them quarterly. So that does provide our capital funding. We refreshed our website in 2020. Created what we think is a cleaner, more streamlined homepage, a bright orange button that takes you right to the video player. Very easy to access the different playlists from that playlist button there in the middle. Channel 7 and Channel 98 are both streamed live from the homepage. And you'll see the arrow on the other side is directly to the YouTube channel. So very easy to access YouTube from the homepage. So your programming in 2020, there were 22 supervisors meetings. 20 of them were, quote unquote, regular, with 2 specifically dedicated to discussion of the budget. 32 bulletin board messages. We talked a little bit about that. Those are all valued as 1/10 of a program. So the 32 messages are an additional 3.2 programs. So your total programming last year was 25.2. In last year, the township was responsible for 4.9% of all of the programming by all of our members. In 2019, it had been 6%, so a little bit of a decrease between 2020 and 2019 in terms of the township sponsorship. This graph shows you the 5-year period of time, 2016 through 2020, and the number of programs that were sponsored. The big spike there in 2019 is because that year you sponsored 2 Spring Creek Watershed Commission meetings, and that doesn't happen every year. That rotates through all the members. And so that happened in 2019. And in 2019, rather than there being 32 bulletin board messages, there were 45. So that's 4.5 programs instead. So that's where you get that spike last year. So if you look back over the most recent 5-year period of time of 16 through 2020, the township sponsored 5.14% of all of our programming, which is actually a little bit higher than the previous 5-year period of 2015 through 19. Now, the reason I obsess over the 5-year period is that we determine member dues or financial contributions for the next year based on the previous 5-year period. So for example, your 2022 dues will be determined by your programming in 2016 through 2020.
So we would see a slight increase. Or
Well,
maybe.
in theory, but
Yes.
it depends what other people are sponsoring,
Oh,
right?
okay.
It depends on our operating budget. So there are lots of factors into play with that. I don't think it's quite as simple as that, but that is the theory of it.
Okay.
This graph shows you all of our members over that 5-year period of time, with the red arrow pointing to Half Moon. The largest user of our services is and always has been State College Borough, with Center County government solidly in second place. So as a reminder, your township meetings are televised in the 6 days following a meeting. Saturday at 8 p.m., Monday at 1 p.m., Tuesday at 6 a.m., and Wednesday at 12:30 a.m. The reason those second times are there with the question marks is that if you have a meeting that lasts 2 hours or less, it will air twice in its scheduled block. So you're scheduled for 4 airings, but it could very well be 8 if your meetings are shorter.
Wow.
There's an incentive. And the meetings, of course, are streamed live on YouTube at Cnet Center County, our YouTube channel, and they are online. Both 7 and 98 are streamed live on the website, and the programs are online, on demand, with those wonderful chaptered and clickable agenda items. We keep the programs online for just about 12 months.
And I'm just gonna add to your comments here, that if you want a program that's longer than 12 months, CNET has been fantastic about, you can reach out and
Oh, fabulous.
see anything from years past.
Yep, we keep them all.
back do you keep them?
We have regular meetings back to 2004.
Wow.
Wow.
We have special programs back to 1988.
Wow.
We have the wall of archived programs, so.
Do you get out the old 8mm reel to reel to see the ones from 1988?
You know, they were all converted to DVD a while ago, and now, of course, since 2015 on, they're all digital files.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you probably
Yeah.
have them housed on a
Right.
server somewhere now,
Yep.
out on the
Yep.
cloud.
I had. Are you going to talk anything about viewership?
I am.
Is coming? Okay.
Yep,
I don't
it
want to
is.
ask anything.
It
Thank
is.
you. Yep.
So in addition to all that, we're available on Roku, the set-top box, or the streaming stick. People just need to search for peg.tv and look for the CNET logo. And we are on the Apple TV set-top box in the TV App Store for CNET. This is not the Apple iPhone. It is only the Apple TV set-top box.
Gotcha.
What do we have to do to get Hulu on that list? Or maybe not Hulu, but Amazon.
Okay, so Amazon Fire is an option that is available to us that is in this year's plan. So,
Because that's like one of the big boys in the whole
Okay.
market.
so in answer of what we have to do, we have to do it. We have to pull the trigger.
Okay, well,
It's close.
Good.
It's close, Bob.
glad to hear that.
So online now, remember, I cannot ever provide to you any numbers regarding television viewership. Comcast considers that proprietary information, and so that is something I cannot do. However, I can give you information about online viewing. So we know that on cnet1.org, your meetings in all of 2020 received an average of 92 views per meeting. At the same time, on YouTube, the meetings in 2020 received an average of 34.2 views per meeting. In the first 4 months of 2021, a little bit of a decrease there. The average numbers on our website is 77.5, and the average on YouTube is 16. This is greatly determined. If you look at municipalities through the year, you'll see this is greatly determined by issues. Something contentious, something interesting, hits go up. If things are calm and a little boring, views tend to go down. So
I've looked at those numbers extended out over time. And I remember what we were doing that month.
Yeah.
And, it's
yeah,
like
you can see, yeah,
see where, I remember that one and that one.
yeah.
So, yeah.
You bet. So on the horizon for us, the PEG fee funding secures our capital money for at least the next 10 years. That's good news for you because right now our members pay zero for capital funding. It is all provided by that Comcast subscriber pass-through. We are looking to, see there it is, Bob. We're looking to increase our presence on over-the-top platforms. Amazon Fire is something we're looking at this year. The board is developing an update to our last 3-year strategic plan. And of course, we will continue to make adjustments for, whatever comes next in this world, whatever that looks like. Hybrid meetings, some people could continue virtually, whatever that means for us. So I think that's my next to the last slide. I have one more slide, which I dearly love. I created this because this is what 2020 looked like to us. And the one there that says, could everyone please mute yourselves? That is Danelle Del Corso at a COG meeting.
Hey, look, somebody
At
had
a
to be the
COG
adult in the
meeting,
room.
right? So,
I love it.
that's just a picture of 2020 from our point of view.
I love it. I have I take offense to your cat is in the way because I think that's a positive thing to always have your cat in the way of the camera. Right, Dave? You have your cats in there too.
Well, my 170-pound English Mastiff spent about half of that meeting on Monday night
Yes.
right here with his head right on camera. It was great.
Those are fantastic quotes from the meetings. It's all the information I needed. I don't even have any questions. Thank you for adjusting this past year and having to adapt to all of this craziness. And we appreciate you here and having these meetings available for people. It adds to our transparency opportunities.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You get, not necessarily from ours, but do you get money from YouTube at all, like for
No.
the number of views? Or we don't hit that threshold, I
No,
guess?
correct. No, we don't.
Okay. And can you run commercials on your show?
Well, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we're classified by the FCC as being a nonprofit educational entity. So it gets a little sticky, very much like it's sort of along the same lines as WPSU.
Yeah, but you still get the brought to you by the Ford
Right,
Foundation.
exactly. And so, for example, what you'll see at the beginning and end of our programs, we don't usually put them on municipal meetings, but we'll put them on other types of programs. You'll see underwriting support for this program furnished by the Center County Gazette and Town and Gown magazine. So we have underwriting agreements with both of those. And so that's the kind of thing that we would be allowed to do. We also have public service announcements for nonprofits who pay us kind of a nominal fee for us to run their public service announcements for 12 months.
You have a little bit of,
Yeah,
you have a little bit of alternative
yes.
funding coming
Yeah.
in. I guess the other question I had was, like at College Township or Ferguson Township, what's their YouTube or not viewership like?
Well, it's interesting. So when there is a really contentious issue, for example, Ferguson Township passed a stormwater ordinance that everybody was very, very
Probably hit
interested
a
in.
million or something.
I mean, it'll be up in the thousands. And the same is true with the school district. When they're trying to decide whether to have school in person or virtual, really, really, really high. Other than that, apart from that, the normal meetings, there are more views on cnet1.org than there are on YouTube. Now, I don't know if that's because people in the community who tend to be interested in issues just sort of instinctively go to cnet1.org, or frankly, if it is the chaptering. Because if you're only interested in the paving of one road or one project, it's much easier to watch the meetings on our website than YouTube. So I know that answer wasn't as clear cut, but for the
I'm
most
just curious
part,
if, like, typically in Ferguson Township, you get, 1,000 viewers of
Oh,
the
no.
show, or 500, or 200, or...
No. The Ferguson Township meetings, you'll hit 48 to 50 on YouTube, for example, unless there is some really contentious issue that's been well publicized.
I would imagine they probably have about the same percentage-wise viewership that we do, if you stack it up to, population. you know.
Sure.
I mean,
And you know, a few years ago, and I'm going back probably, I'm thinking 3 or 4 years, I took the time and I went through the online viewing data for each municipality, and then I broke it into percentage of population. And at that point in time, Harris Township was number 1, and Half Moon was number 2.
Oh, interesting.
Because, you know, you have something like the borough, and you have 45,000 people, but so many of them are students who are
Yeah.
generally not watching Cnet.
Yeah.
So in your municipalities, there's less of a student population, and so that percentage is gonna go up.
makes sense.
So years ago, Harris was 1 and Half Moon was 2.
Yeah, what year was that?
It was like, I think it was 4 years ago that I did it, because it's quite a time consuming project,
Yeah,
but
sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for your support. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure to work with you
Before
and your
go-
staff.
Before you go, Cindy, I just want to say thank you to you and your staff. You folks all do a fantastic
Yes.
job, especially over this last year with all the challenges. I can't rave about what the job you guys do enough. And I'm glad, you know, being a board member, I can be part of it, even if it's just a little bit on the outsides. It really makes me proud to say I'm part of Cnet.
Oh, well,
So,
thank you.
you know,
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
I will certainly pass that on to the whole staff.
Thanks.
Matt is covering a graduation from a field in Penns Valley right now,
Yeah,
so that's
okay.
why he's not here tonight.
Yeah, he's our usual.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. We
Thanks.
appreciate the report.
Thank you. Bye.
Excellent. All right. Let me get my agenda back up here. Here we go. All right. So the next agenda item is from the general forum meeting from Monday night, and the Center Region Building and Housing Board of Appeals needed to appoint a new member. They had a previous member who was not able to meet the commitment of being on that Board of Appeals. So Jonathan Pino, I think is how you say his name. Do you know who he is?
Met his
no,
father
okay.
the other day.
Oh, okay. The materials, his resume, were provided in the general forum materials from Monday night, and the general forum on Monday went ahead and forwarded this to all the municipalities. We get to have a say and vote if we think that he's a good person for this Board of Appeals, and then that goes back to the general forum for final vote.
I move that we appoint Mr. Jonathan Pino, PE, to the Center Region Building and Housing Appeals Board for a 2-year term.
Second.
Excellent, thank you, Patty. Any discussion?
I have none.
Okay,
I don't know this gentleman, so I can't speak one way or the other, but I trust that they know who they're getting and
vetted
exactly,
well.
so,
Yeah, his resume looked pretty impressive, so.
exactly.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chuck, I don't know if I heard you. Did you say aye? I just want to get your vote.
Chuck, are you muted?
I just want to make sure that we get his vote. I mean, I guess it's 4. If he
Yeah.
doesn't. Okay. We
We can
no
just
no vote
report it as a
for
4 to
Chuck.
0,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Can't be heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right, let's move along to the next item. Also, kind of comes forwarded from the general forum, which is a resolution 2021-15, Center County's 2021 Hazard Mitigation Plan update. And actually, it's a little bit a part of my supervisor report, so I was just going to mention one thing because where's my notes? Hold on one second. Oh, I have my note right here actually, because I think I was replacing Bob
Yes.
at the public safety meeting. Sorry, let me get my glasses on here.
Yes, thanks for taking that, by the
There we
way.
go. And just, I wanted to note, because Sean Kaufman said that the report, oh, here it is. The hazard mitigation plan from previously, so there were updates to it, but 95% of it, he said, was about the same. Were you gonna say that already,
Yes.
or, oh, okay. Do you wanna do that then, or me? Okay.
You go ahead, I'll fill in the blanks.
Okay, he said that most of the updates were really around the ranking of hazards, and part of that mostly was because of the pandemic issues. So they had this hazard mitigation plan, it needed updated, but those were the majority of the updates. And I think the last time it was updated was 2015. That's
Yes.
all I had.
Well, isn't part of it, or this is also intertwined with the fact that Alpha is taking over hazmat services from the university or something like that?
I didn't read the plan update.
Well, I
that may be
didn't
part of
either,
it.
but I'm
Go
just-
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So that's a portion of what went into some of these considerations. So there's different goals and different actions, and Half Moon has a responsibility to not only pass this resolution saying we're going to accept this, but we also have some actions that we're required to do and some timing on those actions. So I wanted to just point out a couple of them really quick.
Okay.
The first one is this crop insurance drought protection. I didn't even know that this was something that was going on, but apparently that's something that's offered to farmers, and it's an educational goal for us to get that out. One of the other townships has already done that to an extent, so I plan on contacting them and saying, hey, how exactly did you do that? But we also had the ability to do a mailer. That might be something that we also include in a mailer.
Lovely.
So we can reach that goal, because
Yes.
the focus this update was to actually start doing some of these goals and having timelines where they could be implemented and have definitive steps that could be taken. So that was one I wanted to just point out, because that's supposed to be 2 years through the extension's help. Another one I wanted to point out is reviewing the floodplain ordinance annually. That is something that I contacted our engineer to find out if that was something that we were currently doing, and it's not.
Seriously doubt it. We have no control over it, so why would we review it?
Well, we do have a floodplain ordinance, but apparently the review was never, a review of it that is supposed to be done annually was never done by our engineer, so that's something that we should definitely consider as a project for the engineer to do. There was one other one. All in all, there were 60 different actions as part of this plan. And one is to develop, there was a lot of stuff about COVID. And, you know, the pandemic really heightened a lot of the awareness of some of the issues. And one was to develop a task force for after action and improvement plan to COVID response. So that kind of will help increase awareness of if and or when another situation like this occurs, how we could better respond as a group and not have so much chaos
Yeah.
involved. So that includes things like where are the centers that we could have a distribution of vaccines. So those are the items that we're going to look into and actually have action plans for.
Very nice.
This is a huge document, and I recommend you read it. Like, I didn't know that we have a generator at the church up the street, and that, like, I didn't know that that's a place that's considered, if there's an emergency,
Yes.
people can go there. So it was really good to read in my spare time.
And it is the counties, and the Penn State is involved in this too, correct?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's all part of the whole emergency response. Beaver Stadium was one of those central places and all that fun stuff. Yeah, excellent. Good. So we need a resolution, we need a motion to pass resolution 2021-15.
I move that we pass resolution 2021-15.
I got a question before we second it.
Yeah.
We're just updating the current plan, it's not actually taking action on anything at this point? Or if we have an action item, what are those things that we specifically need to do?
So the action items are those 60 things within the plan, and some of them are designed to the county, some of them are different municipality specific. So it's just saying, well, we as the township are updating what was done in 2015 with these items and commit to making the actions that we're responsible
Okay, we're
for.
not spending any money at this point, we're just committing to doing the research.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
No,
just need
that's fine.
clarification.
That's fine. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deb. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, hi Chuck, good, we hear you. Okay. Excellent. I think that's all for the new business. So now we're on to the department reports. Is there anything of note that you wanted to point out in any of the financial reports?
Not in the financial reports. There is something that, I just want to give some verbal updates about
Yep.
what's been going on. One of the things that we discussed at a previous meeting was the streetlights and what we were going to do with that ordinance. Jeff looked into it and issued an opinion that because it was enacted through township petition, he doesn't feel that that's something that we can repeal back. Jeff, are you still present? Do you want to speak on that at all? That probably explains that a little bit better than what my pretend legalese is.
Sure. So it was established through a statutory procedure where 70% of the owners petitioned for it. It's my opinion that given that, to get rid of it would either require us to get approval from all of the owners served in that district or all the owners of that district, or to get a court order approving the disbandment of the district. I think those are your two options.
Okay.
I think you have the flexibility to change the way you're doing the billing or paying for it, but yeah, I don't think you can just unilaterally eliminate the district.
Okay. And I think our biggest concern, it might have gotten blown a little bit out of proportion or the wrong way the last time we had a meeting, because I think our biggest concern, and Dave, you can tell me too, was just the awareness of those people who were paying the tax.
Yeah, I don't know that some of them are even aware that they're
Correct.
being billed for it, or maybe they think everybody in the township's getting a bill for it.
Right. So I think it was just more of a communication opportunity
That's-
there.
That's
just-
all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we're prepared as staff to do the adjustments that are necessary now that we know that there needed to be some changes.
Yes, and that's great. And maybe in the next tax mailer, for those specific folks, a little explanation goes along with it so that they know, something like that. So, okay, that's good.
That's great.
Excellent.
An
Oh, go ahead.
additional follow-up item, a while back, we had a discussion on whether or not the State Ethics Commission statement of financial interest filings considered if that was something that was going to have to be filed by our Open Space Preservation Board, and there was discussion about whether or not that was something that needed to be done. We asked Jeff to contact and get an opinion from one of their solicitors. We received that back, and that information is that we do not need to have the open space do that they are advisory, even though they do provide a different level of service, that they are not conditioned to that. Now, with that being said, the board has the ability to implement a more stringent application of the State Ethics Commission's statement of financial interest filings. And so what you can do, you can't put a less restrictive one on, but what you can do is say anybody who is on a board or volunteers should be filling this out for greater transparency, and that's how Halfmoon would like to operate. You have that option, but again, we now have something in writing
So we
that
know.
states that they are an advisory board only.
Okay.
I'm not really interested in doing that. We have a hard enough time getting people to
I'm not
volunteer.
either. Yeah. So at least we know, and we're set for a while. Okay.
One more.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a couple of things. We've noticed staff at the staff level, there has been a large increase in notary services. And this is something that I'm not sure if the board is aware of, that Amy does provide to our citizens. As part of notary services, it requires a great deal of time.
Yes, it does.
And there's some research that goes into that that's required as well. So this is kind of a reminder that appointments are required for that, and that we ask that people be respectful of the fact that there is the ability for a notary to deny service as well if they're not comfortable notarizing something.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there, because right now she's actually doing car titles, which I personally don't think is a good idea, and I would like to ask the board if they're okay stating that as a policy, we don't provide that type of service.
So, if I'm not mistaken, a notary is like an independent kind of, and I don't know, maybe this is a Mr. Stover question. I thought that they kind of operated, even if they worked somewhere, kind of on their own. And so I don't know, are we able to say what she can notarize and not? Or is that for Amy to do?
Amy has the ability to do car titles, and as a notary myself, I never provided that service free.
But every notary can't do car titles.
It's a high liability item,
Yeah,
first of all, and there's a lot of,
but that's what I'm
Yes,
asking, isn't it up to each notary to determine what they're gonna notarize
Well, I
and
know why it
not?
jumped up, because the car dealership on North Atherton, that used to do a lot of titles and things, they closed, they shut down, and got retired.
Interesting.
And, you know, I know it seems like it's like on the edge of things, but we don't provide a lot of services to our citizens out here. I know it's a pain in the neck to have people come in, but Karen Brown was a notary, she did it for years, and, you know, I don't know that there's any notaries in Warriors Mark anymore, so, you know, you're probably getting more pressure just because people can't find notaries anymore. Used to be able to go to the bank and get things notarized. A lot of banks don't have notaries in them, or if they do, they're not available to the public. You know, it's like we sell dog licenses, you don't make anything, or what you do is a joke, but, you know, it's a service to our citizens, and I think it's a good service to provide, because I know when I was here as manager, we had a couple of attorneys come in and they needed things notarized for like estates and wills, and, you know, and it was just nice, because they knew they had witnesses there as well with the township employees. I don't see that it hurts anything. I think it's a good service.
I don't
I
think we're.
agree 100%, yes. What I'm asking, so typically, there are tons of notaries out there. It's a service that, for car titles, requires that you pay. Because of the liability that's associated with it, and the bonding and the training. When you do car titles, people want money for that service.
Right.
And,
Well, I think a fee would be appropriate for a car title or something. I mean, it's
Sure.
different than just having your name signed on it. I mean, they charge good money at the North Atherton place when I
Yeah.
used to go there, so.
yes, so that is something you can also consider, but because we do provide it as a free service to the community, and I think that's a great thing, I'm just asking that we not do car titles as a service anymore because of that extra liability and the fact that there are places that you can go that you can
Exactly,
pay and
there's,
do that.
the DMV
Right,
is on the
county
other side
taxes.
of town, we've got, I can count at least on, two hands how many car title joints
So
there are
just
in State
specifically car
College.
titles?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be doing car titles, it's,
It probably takes a lot longer.
yeah, exactly, and
You
it's
have to
not
file with
like,
the state and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
and it's not township business, and,
I wouldn't have even
you know.
thought that you could even do that.
And that's why I wanted to make you aware of it. It's
Well,
it's
mo
something.
notary stuff is not, I'm not advocating for or against the car title from the standpoint of, you know, if Amy has a certification and we wanna provide that service, I'm fine with it. If she didn't have the and I know it takes special certification, then I wouldn't want her doing it. And I know she wouldn't be doing it if she didn't have the paperwork for it. But, you know, here again, you know, we're a little place out in the country. I mean, what do you do, 3?
I don't think
No,
it's the
there's-
quantity.
3 this week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the
Yeah.
quantity that's the problem. It's what Denise is saying over and over, it's the
It could be
liability.
a quantity at some
Yeah, there's
places.
It
It's
could be.
starting to.
It could be, yeah.
And that's also
Yeah.
why I just put out there as a reminder, appointments are required,
Yeah.
because
That's good.
it does take some time, so if you show up 5 minutes before the end of the day, that puts an extra half hour in her day that, yeah, so that's why we ask for appointments. And she's always accommodating
Oh, yeah.
and willing to do it and happy to do it, especially as a service, like, the idea is, a lot of times people will come in with wills
Mm-hmm.
and need somebody to sign, and that's, you know, have that notary service, that's something that we're happy to provide the residents with.
She did
That's
mine.
something that safety, health, and welfare, that's a fantastic service
Yeah.
to provide. But we've noticed that I didn't realize that's what it was, Dave, was the car thing, but the place going out of business. But it's become an issue that I wanted to make you aware of, because I didn't think that the board was even aware that she was doing car titles.
Okay. So do you want our vote on that? Do you,
Just a
So-
consensus as to whether or not,
Yeah, I think the car titles should get nixed out of the.
I'm
and
okay with
that's- There's plenty of other places around they can get that done.
isn't that
It's- I mean,
title place up by the mall?
Yeah, Tri-County Tag
Yeah.
Service.
or
AAA.
AAA, or, you know, I could go down the
Well,
list.
you know, those are the other things, you go into those places, you stand in line, and you stand in
Yeah.
line.
You're gonna stand in line
they're
here, if you got enough
time-consuming.
people.
Yeah, yep.
Well, I personally don't care if she does them or not, it doesn't make any difference to me. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, if we're gonna provide notary service, if we just wanna say it's gonna be non-vehicular, then that's fine, but, you know, Denise, you're in the office all day, I'm not, so if you think it's too much to handle with the load, I'm fine if you just say no.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to put it back on us, I mean, if Amy wants to come back before the board and
We'll hear something from residents if they're not happy with any
That's,
answer,
yeah,
so,
I
yeah.
just wanted to make you aware of it.
But I'm also okay if we want to provide that service to our citizens, I got no problem with it, so. But if it's jamming up the office and, you know, or you think it's over the bounds, I guess.
So it sounds like do what's best
Okay.
for you.
We're gonna implement a policy of no vehicular
That's fine.
and having that appointment.
That's
Okay.
fine. Okay. Anything else from Public Works or from you?
River Raft Days were held,
Yes,
and this year we had volunteers.
I saw lots of
And-
people.
And yes, and so I just, again, that is such a huge event that's put on,
Yeah.
so I have to say that we have one of the hardest working road crews, that's a lot of physical labor that
Mhm.
day.
How did you get the
2 days.
volunteers?
Scott reached out
Really?
to someone, yes, our roadmaster reached out to somebody he had been in contact with and asked
Fabulous.
if, now that the COVID restrictions are being lifted, if they're able to provide volunteers, and followed up
Wonderful.
and took care of everything.
Fabulous. If I know in the past we've had some report on what do we do? Weight? I think it was by weight, like how much riffraff actually came through. Yeah.
We'll be
so
getting that, we'll
it
get
would
that.
be yeah
That's
if we could
still, there's still some
see
cleanup
how that
happening.
is. Yeah, because I went up there on Saturday and there weren't as many people as I expected, but I don't know, maybe I was there at a time when it was low volume.
People would have more now because they've been home for a year.
I
and
know,
have
they've
chance
been
to throw
cleaning
things
up.
away.
Actually, that was something I wanted to, because compared to other years, like when we first started this, I mean, you know, people were really
Yes.
getting rid of stuff, and I've noticed last year, and I noticed this year when we were down too, there was lower volume, but I don't know how it was across both days, but is
Right.
it something based on our volume now, since we've been doing this every year, that maybe we could consolidate into one day to just on Saturday and make it less onerous on people?
I don't know if you looked
Take
at
away
some
Halfmoon
of the
River Day.
neighbors were a little. They wanted
They
it
wanted on
different
Sunday,
times. They
like
wanted it
all
on
week.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So I think having it split gives more people an opportunity. rather
Okay,
than
but I was
one
just
day.
wondering, because if you only have people trickling in now at this point and not
True.
steady, that.
It's usually
True.
a steady, it's
Okay,
usually steady,
That's
and,
good, that's good.
like, again, that, the amount of labor, and it was also that 90-degree day
Yeah.
too, so,
Was Habitat there? Because we went down one day
No,
looking for them
not
and
when
they
I was
weren't
there. Just Goodwill was there
Just
when I
Goodwill,
was
that's
there.
what I thought. Okay, 'cause I
Saturday.
thought they were supposed to be there one day.
Saturday I went down, I was there actually 3 times. Just, I have a little car, I had to make a couple of trips. And it kind of hung around for a little bit too, talking to Scotty and Amy. And there was, it was kind of a one at a time, but there was always
Steady.
somebody there, you know, just as
Okay,
one person
good.
was leaving, somebody else was pulling in.
It's just
So-
kind of a fun township event.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't put stuff out at the end of your road or driveway,
having yard
but
sales,
it's
too.
kind of nice. You get to see your neighbors, and yeah, I like
Get
it.
to look at your
And if you
neighbor's
don't have a
junk.
big vehicle, like Bob says,
Yeah.
you know, he's gonna make multiple trips. If you have to drive all the way to,
Transfer.
yeah, transfer
Yeah.
station, that's, you know, that's
Yep.
an all-day affair to
Yeah.
move a little bit of stuff, so.
That's
Yeah,
why
I
my
love it.
daughter has a boyfriend with a pickup truck.
There you go.
And everybody loves it too because they all have their yard sales.
Mhm.
Anything they don't
Yes.
want, they just take over to Riff Raff. It's a
Yep.
perfect opportunity. Love it.
The
Great
reason why
job.
Sunday's good, because they can get rid of the stuff.
Yes, fabulous.
so that's basically
Okay.
all the updates that I have for you.
Fabulous. All right, we will move along to the supervisor reports. We'll just go down through the list here, Bob.
I honestly really don't have anything. The human resources was so long ago that we actually just had our next human resource meeting agenda come out, and executive was covered in the COG meeting on Monday. So
Okay. I attended public safety, which just gave a little update about the hazard mitigation plan. And let me see if there was anything else with that. No, I do want to say the public safety meeting is fantastic.
I know it is. It's just for whatever reason, it kept
It's-
clashing with my work schedule and I
it's
could
a-
not make it.
It's a
It was
great
driving
group.
me nuts.
It's a very well
Yes, it
run
is.
or
I like it a
meeting.
lot.
And
public safety?
well, there's a different chair every year. Laura
No,
Danini.
well, I
oh,
mean,
She's
what
current chair.
staff people from the center region?
who's the
usually there.
staff on it?
It's Alpha Fire. Forgive me, I can't remember
No,
his
but
name.
COG staff, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? There's
staff.
always like some,
Didn't know if it's always the same person or people.
I don't remember, is there a COG staff representative from there? They typically have someone who does like the meeting minutes and things, but I don't
Okay.
think,
They don't,
Well-
have- not like Tom Zilla with transportation.
no,
or something.
no,
Okay.
no. Okay, so I am the representative for us on this combined transportation and land use, public services and environmental. So this is the first time these groups are merging. There's still a lot of group formation going on. So we are now in the 6th month, coming into the 6th month, and it's been still a little bit of a struggle. It took about 3 months to get the attendance or the participants nailed down, like who from each municipality is going to do this. And Jim May is the representative for that one, and they are going to focus this next month on trying to nail down some specifics about the mission. It is a difficult group to put a definition around because there are so many different topics that fall under this land use, water, sewer,
Did housing-
infrastructure.
Did housing get in there?
So the last meeting, and I think I sent an email to everybody, so the Patton Township, someone from Patton Township requested that, or recommended that housing be added, affordable housing. It is like everything in the kitchen sink trying to be added to this group, and it's a little tough. Everybody agreed, of course, housing is a priority. Trying to add it to that group would probably just lessen the amount of effort that could be put on that. So we're still talking about that. So just really trying to understand what the purpose of this group is, what we are gonna be providing out, some guidance. It really seems to me, just to give a little update, that it's gonna be a connection, like a communication hub for these different authorities and other organizations, just to create a link with local government. So if there's major projects going on related to water, sewer, infrastructure, transportation, it's really kind of not a clearinghouse because it doesn't go through that group. It's really a communication hub is what it seems like, and be able to provide guidance back and forth. So a long-winded description of that because I'm not going to be able to attend the meeting, and I sent an email to everybody. If you want to attend this next meeting, it is going to be about sort of trying to nail down the purpose and some of that discussion. Nothing's getting voted on.
What was the date on that again? I did get the email, but I just can't remember.
I think it's June 3rd. I don't have it here with me, but I can get it for you. So I don't think it's pertinent or priority to have a backup to this meeting because they're still in this forming stage. So it's not like there's topics that are going to be pertinent that we have to
No,
move
it's
forward,
interesting,
but it is very interesting. So
June 3rd at 12:15.
thank
12,
you.
15. I'll do the best I can to make it.
Okay, I already
That's
informed
about
them that we probably won't have a
Yeah,
representative, but if you want to, that's fine.
Thursday, I think I can do it.
Okay, or was it Wednesday? Was it Thursday?
It's Thursday, June 3rd.
Yeah, Thursday. Wednesday would be
Okay.
a no, but Thursday, yeah, I think I can.
So I think going forward, you just have to get some traction on the topics and things rolling through this group, but it's still
It's a
forming.
Zoom meeting,
It
right?
is, yes.
Can you forward me the link?
Yes, I can. Okay. But it is very interesting because there's a lot going on. The university provides reports, State College Water Authority, UAJA, but Tom Zilla's there for transportation. So it's a good hub, but we don't know how the flow of information is going to be going through there yet. So okay. Anything else, Patty? Anything about facilities?
No, we're meeting, on Tuesday, we're gonna meet at the Park Forest Pool.
Oh,
And,
fun.
yeah, we're gonna, because they recently, Lou Brumgard just recently did a evaluation on the pool. And things have come up, but having the facilities coordinator role and having Lou in it has been fantastic.
Fantastic. It's so nice.
He is doing very well, and
Yeah.
and we're evaluating all our different facilities, and yeah, things are rolling along very well with that group. We're making a lot of progress and saving a lot of money,
Excellent.
and also being proactive with where money is gonna have to be spent in the
Yeah.
future instead of being reactive.
Excellent.
So, that's going well, and I don't really have anything to say about finance, it's all been around the parks.
Yes.
So,
All right. And I think, any other reports?
I have one thing to add, it's
Yeah.
not COG related, but
Yeah.
last week Scott Brown and I went out to Spring Township to see a demonstration on synthetic asphalt resin.
Ooh,
It's kinda like crack seal, but it's actually structural.
Mm.
You can put it over alligator crack roads, you can you can fill potholes with it. It is far and away superior to the coal patch and QPR 2000, or appears that, that we're using now.
excellent.
And the machine, it's from the same company we get our crack sealer from. You get the machine for free, you just have to buy the material in it. Looks like there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but it doesn't look difficult to operate. But being that we're on a limited budget right now, I'm gonna recommend it, if we have the opportunity to use any of that to fill in potholes in this township, to get things back into shape, that we get that machine. I was really impressed with it, and it hardens in about 15 minutes.
Oh, excellent. So you said the machine is free, you just
The
pay for the
machine
material?
is free, you buy the asphalt material in blocks, you put them in there,
Yeah.
you heat it up to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you open the valve, run it out, you can run it out of a bucket and dump it where you need it to be, or you can park the machine over it, you just screed it off.
Nice.
It's very malleable, I guess, flowable, and so when it's hot, and it only takes a few minutes to kind of screed it out, you know. Cold patch, it doesn't flow very well, it's got a lot of rock in it. This actually uses a granite instead of a limestone, it's much tougher stone, you can plow over it, you don't have to worry about it, so, I think, you know, this summer, I don't know what exactly Scott has all on the agenda, but I'm gonna highly recommend that he bring that forward to the board and that we approve that, just
Awesome.
because I think it's worth trying. Even if it doesn't work, which I think it will, because PennDOT just approved it.
Oh, very good.
So, and they've been out there for about 5 years experimenting with it, so
Excellent.
if it can save us some money and get us through a rough patch,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's a good thing.
Couple clarification questions on that. It sounds really interesting. You said the machine is free, like you
You
take
get the
it and it's
machine.
yours, or you have to give it back?
Well, you have to give it back.
Yeah, that's just
It-
wanted
you
to
know,
make sure.
it's
of that.
it's not something we would buy, because
Yeah.
maintenance costs on it would be high too.
Yeah, sure.
But basically, it looks like a giant pig cooker, and, you know, it's just sitting there, and it's got, you know, it runs on diesel fuel, and there's a generator and air compressor with it. You fill it up with the material, you heat it up, you only get like 3 reheatings of the material, so you gotta use the material that's in it. And once you get it hot, you take it out, and if there's a pothole there, you blow out the pothole with compressed air, put this material in it, and you can it basically take almost like a hoe or a screed, and just screed it right off of there.
Nice.
And in 15 minutes, it's solid. I mean,
Wow.
it's not like regular asphalt where you gotta wait a day to, you know, before you can drive on it. I mean, it's ready to go. It's not, I think the reaction is more chemical than it is, like normal asphalt is just, you're just heating up tar, it gets
Yeah.
runny,
Mm, it gets hot.
you know, and then you're shoving all the rocks around it. If anybody's ever done that, it's really miserable.
And the materials cost is cheaper than regular asphalt?
It's more expensive, but to go get hot mix at the plant and bring it down and put it in, we can't do
Yeah, you're
that.
paying
Yeah.
for transportation and
Yeah,
everything,
the
so
problem with the hot mix is.
once you do all the
Yeah.
formula of cost,
Well,
it
if I
turns out
show
to
up
be a
with
little
5 tons
cheaper.
of hot mix, by the time we get the last pothole done, it's cold.
Yeah.
And then you just have a clump of stuff you can't do
Yeah.
anything with. Whereas this, the machine actually keeps it hot. And so, you know, all you gotta do is show up, and the guy did say that, you know, the machine's been improved greatly over the years to make it easier for people to use. And he's one guy there by himself.
And he was doing
You
it?
know, he was an engineer that helped design the machine, so
Wow.
it's not like he's a professional, you know,
Salesman.
Excellent.
pavement guy.
And
or
where
something.
do you get this thing?
The
Like, do
same
you go
people we rent
Oh, okay.
our crack sealer machines
Gotcha.
from. It's just
Excellent.
another thing in their arsenal that we can get. And
Does it
I,
last longer, Dave?
what's that?
Does it last longer?
Well, yeah, it definitely lasts longer than cold patch.
Nice.
And,
Stays in better and.
yep, and they had a dip in the road. They did like 4 different sites in Spring Township. And so they easily transferred the machine with a pickup truck, pulled it to the next thing,
Excellent.
you know, opened the gate, flowed the material out, raked it off, and then there's, you know, it looks like, almost like an iron that you can heat it up and then reform it if you need to a little bit, so.
Does this seem like a material that's one day posed to replace asphalt, or is this just
No,
more of a
I think
patch
the
thing?
cost is too high to
Okay.
do that. I mean, if you had a regular, I thought maybe it's gonna be a regular paving machine that we could rent and do a thin overlay on. I mean, Scott was trying to describe it to me over the
Yeah.
phone, and he said, I think you need to see this, and I said, okay, fine. So I just took off, dropped what I
nice.
was doing and headed out. And like I say, it's not what I told Denise, I said, it's not what I thought it was gonna be,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's gonna be a very useful tool
That's
that,
cool.
that is gonna save us some money in doing repairs.
Excellent.
At least in the short term, getting things ready. You know, if we're not paving the road for another 3 to 5 years or something, and we got a problem, it's a good fix,
Stop fix, yeah.
so.
Excellent, good job. Nice. Fabulous. Let me see, is there anything else? Oh, you know what, I did wanna say, so I'm on the Climate Action and Sustainability Committee. And I don't know if you recall, but last month there was a community forum on which invitations went out. Pam Adams, the sustainability planner, thank you, I always forget her title. She worked with Penn State in providing facilitators. They had like 30 student facilitators for this. I attended. There were over 140 people online that attended. They did a great job. They got some community feedback about various issues. Solar was one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up a little bit. There's a lot of activity going on around solar because the initial cost is going down and more people are doing it. Pam actually provided me, I asked her, she had a spreadsheet of all of the different permits in the past 10 years and the different municipalities and where they were coming from. So when I looked at Half Moon, for the past 10 years, there's been 1 to 2 solar installations per year. And Patty, I'm assuming there were a couple geothermals. I'm assuming one of them was yours before that. So, and last year there were 3. One of them was mine. So it was really interesting, at least to see. And if we wanted to, I have all the other municipalities we can kind of compare. So, I mean, there's been, 1 to 2 people installing. And I realize we don't have any kind of ordinance or use in our saldo for that, right?
That's correct. So right now, in our zoning and SADO, we specifically call out windmill,
Right.
but we don't have anything in there for solar.
And whether we do or not, I thought this might be something that we could ask the planning commission to start taking a look at, because I think that's where the wind ordinance came from as well when I worked on the planning commission. So I thought, it's not maybe high priority, but it could be something that they could start looking into, looking what other municipalities have in their ordinances if they do, just to get us kind of prepared.
I'm reluctant to restrict alternate energy choices
Yeah,
or uses,
Me too.
actually. In a township not far from here, they put a heavy-duty restriction on cell towers, and there's no cell service, and there ain't gonna be any. So,
yeah. And
I
I'm not saying I'm
I'm
looking
not
to
a-
restrict.
I think solar panels have I know they've come a long way since
They have.
1981 when I first studied. And they're way better, way more efficient. I mean, the same size panel's probably 10 or 20 times the output of what it was then. So it's getting to the point where, economy of scale is gonna probably kick it over to
Yeah.
make solar panels the way to go. I just don't wanna start something where, well, we don't want them on a roof, and we don't want them in the backyard.
No, me neither.
And I think you ought to encourage people, and maybe we ought to take another look at that wind power. I understand you don't want a wind farm, but, if somebody has a windmill in their yard, I
Yeah.
don't know that it's gonna hurt anything.
And one of the things that is sparking my attention about it too is there's more interest in like using ag land potentially, or reusing or using it alternatively, and even small community solar ideas. So I'm not that I'm looking to do anything, but I'm just interested to find out what's going on in other areas. Is that something that might be beneficial for some folks out here potentially?
I'm interested in hearing what other people are doing or not doing.
Yes, that's what I
I
wanted.
think the whole idea is we need to get out in front of this because things are coming and we don't want things to
I
get
mean,
out
I
of
don't-
hand before we even know
Well-
what the possibilities of the way it would get out of hand are.
Well, and I'm not overly concerned about the out-of-hand part. What I would like to do is provide some benefit for
Oh, yeah,
people.
sure, there's.
And set us up, like if a community solar is an option and someone could use their land in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're not farming on their land or doing other things. If that's an option and that could be, I don't know what other kind of governmental
Well, since we
benefits there could
don't
be from that.
have, that in our current saldo, that right now, people could use their
Absolutely.
land alternatively like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, so.
But I'm definitely interested in the community, and I don't know if Penn State Extension does anything at all. I know they're more agriculture, but I see a lot more alternative uses of ag land that is not being used as ag land.
Yeah,
So-
maybe even if there was some way we could help folks, achieve their goal
That's
of-
what I'm saying, yeah.
I got
That
you,
we
okay.
could provide some education, information,
Here's
alternatives.
some links to these
Yes.
companies that, or well, not companies, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just we might be bringing that forward and maybe have something for the planning commission to start researching what others
That's awesome.
around us are doing and that type of thing.
Did you say you got solar panels?
I do have solar panels, yes.
We need to talk after the
Sure.
meeting sometime.
Yeah, my neighbor across the street does too.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of having like a little, anybody who's interested in residential solar and contact some of the folks around here that have it. We could all kind of get together and anybody that has questions, we can.
Oh, that'd be
answer
awesome.
What we,
Yeah.
yeah, just a little small group. We could even be here in the township building because it is rentable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that might be something coming soon.
Cool.
All right, so I think that was my last thing. Anything else?
I have one thing, I don't know if we're on good and welfare yet or not.
We are.
We
yeah.
have had two members, prominent members of our community
You are right.
have passed away. I don't know if we sent a card to anybody or not. But,
Dave, I know one. Who's the other? I know DJ.
yeah, Rob Brooks,
Oh,
and I really didn't wanna say, but I'm saying.
okay.
But I think those people's contributions need to be recognized. And I was thinking, we got a nice park out there, we could make a memorial thing. Because you go back to Bob Everhart, I mean, when you go back in time, you look at the people at this township that were here, that contributed a lot. I think we need to have them be recognized on a permanent monument.
Have you been out to the bench at the wildlife corridor that was dedicated to Bob?
No, I haven't.
There was a dedication when he passed.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
which was super
That's nice that
wonderful.
they've
Yes.
done that, but I
Yep.
think,
I like that.
it isn't
That's a-
World War II or anything like that, but,
Sure, still.
those people sat here, and I guess you were on when
Mm-hmm.
Rob Brooks was on. I mean, as you know, it's a lot of time, a
Yes.
lot of focus, a lot of attention, and they did it for nothing.
Mhm.
So I think some kind of permanent recognition would be good.
I love that idea.
We can look into it,
Yeah.
come back with some,
One of the things that was on our master plan for the park that did not get accomplished was sort of a garden type area, flowers,
I was
perennials.
thinking about that the other
And-
day, and it, for whatever reason, popped into my head. Why didn't that ever happen?
I can't recall because I think we were supposed to engage with some Penn State students to
Yeah,
help with that,
and
and
it
I
just
think that
kinda
fell through somehow.
disappeared.
But, I mean, that might be a nice place to have
Sure.
some kind of markers or something
Absolutely.
like that as well. So I don't know if it's worth pulling up our old park plan for Autumn Meadow, and I think it was down at the bottom of the steps, I think maybe, or
Mhm.
somewhere around the step area was gonna be like a perennial garden type
Mhm.
area, but yeah.
I'd like to
I that.
isolate away from the sports activities.
That's a good point too.
It's just,
That's
because
true.
otherwise people are gonna be sitting on it
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever,
true.
and I don't want that. I
It should
want-
be in a quiet, serene.
Yeah, I want some place that you can go to and it's just calm,
That's good. That's true.
so.
Okay.
we'll definitely look into
Yeah, I love that idea.
some options and
Good
come
job.
back with some things for you.
Okay. Anything else for the good and welfare? It's nice to see everyone. All right. Seeing no other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Did you pay for your solar panels, or did somebody else put
Thank
them
you,
up there
Jeff.
and you lease them?
Sure,
Okay, for my-
night.
Yeah,
Paid
I
for
belong.
the equipment and everything?
Yeah, I
Okay.
belong.
'Cause,
Thank